Yeah, and for me, I always look at what bad civs that they give to the enemy. And when it comes to Suomi, they of course received all those ones with the purple boxes. They received Sicilians, Burmese, Koreans, Celts, and Incas, and then GL received Burgundians, Bulgarians, Goths, Teutons, and Cumans. But I suppose I've did this out of order. What do you think about the fact that Suomi have valued a civ like Lithuanians and Japanese so high?
I think the maps, each and every one of those home maps have some sort of war element in it. So
Yep.
Japanese with the stronger fishing ships can be used anywhere. It's like a wild card civ. Lithuanians is insanely strong on Cape of Storms. You can pick up the relics early. It has a very, very good hybrid map start. Persians also like that. So I feel like Suomi was just utilizing the fact that there is so many water and hybrid maps that they just picked the good civs for those. Especially Lithuanians and Japanese are pretty much plug and play on any of these maps.
Okay. Yep. Mongols and Chinese also globally banned. That actually happens before all the picks come in. So I think that might have something to do with the fact that Coast to Mountain is one of the maps. Mongols very strong there. So maybe Suomi realized, well, we don't want GL to pick that. So we'll just get rid of it. And then Chinese, I guess, strong overall. And same logic, of course, GL maybe realized they'd be picked early in the draft. And so they just got rid of it too with a global ban.
Exactly. So, Chinese being a top tier civ on many of these maps, it's more about the versatility of Chinese. That might be the only civ that's an excellent cavalry civ and an excellent archer civ in 2v2 as well.
That's true. I think more often than not, you tend to see archers, but it can play into camel and knight. So, as far as prediction goes for the series, what are your thoughts, man? These are some big names. I know in previous team game tournaments, maybe even the previous TwoPools, these teams have clashed and brought us great games.
This is very hard because I saw Max and Villas versus, I think, Len and Hart in the group stage, and Max and Villas destroyed them. Like, they were playing Clister clean. On the other hand, against Tempo, Suomi had a hard time, although obviously Tempo is on a completely different level, but Viper+TaToH also looked super clean. But I think the main question is that Viper and TaToH didn't face that big of an opposition so far, so group stage-wise they were up against ACCM and Say My Name, and before that Bars and Valas, so the Rio challenge comes in now for them with the stronger teams. I still favor GL by a tiny bit, and I'm gonna say 3-2 for them.
Okay, I said that this is either going to 5 games or Gamer Legion sweeps 3-0. It's a very weird feeling, but I feel it in my bones. Either things are going to be figured out quite easily by Gamer Legion, or this is going to go deep and it's going to be some very, very, very long games. And I think it's pretty bold to say that any team might 3-0 here. But anywho, I hope it goes to 5 games, despite how long we've both been doing this today. This is what we're all here for. So
yeah, it is. It is what we're all here for, indeed. So I'm gonna jump into game number 1, and we can get going in a moment if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are. You just give me a shout, and we can get started here.
Yeah, give me a moment, and we should be good to go. So you are saying that it is either Gamer Legion winning, or we're gonna have a long set that could go either way.
That's what I'm thinking, yep.
Yeah, that kind of seems possible, although I feel like in a long set, Suomi is definitely going to have a good shot as well. But you are probably right about the fact that I don't see Suomi sweeping GL here. Alright, I'm paused at 10 seconds, so let's do a countdown. And
give it old 3, 2, 1 here and get going?
Sure. Are we starting on 1 or are we starting on a go?
Oh, we'll start on 1.
All right. 3, 2...
3, 2, 1. There we go.
All right.
Happy New Year, Lidacor. All right, so you're going to have to bear with me because my scoreboard has restarted in-game, but that will take me just a second. And we will be into this final quarterfinal of TwoPools 2, and everything should be synced up, so we're good. Let's go. Lidacor, take it away.
All right. So, in our warm colors, we have on the southern part of the map, Suomi, Max and Villas. Villas playing red Mayans and Sicilians for Max in yellow. Once again, Sicilians being used as the cavalry civ on Arabia, so unfortunately we won't see another First Crusade landing from Suomi like we saw against Tempo. And on the other side, Kumens for TaToH in blue and the Viper as Franks in green, so some interesting combinations here for Game of Legion to start with.
Yeah, definitely, right? I mean, Cumin's not a civ that I see as an archer civ at all. You have to assume that the Viper is going to be going scouts into something like, knights, which they're kind of good at with Frank. So, this is TwoPools. You have to try and stack up civilizations in spots you've never seen them before. And even on Arabia, we've seen variety due to that. But if I had to choose here, I would say that I might just prefer to have Sicilians and Mayans because it's less questionable for Sicilians to go scouts into knights with all their farm bonuses than it might be for Cumans. That is, if TaToH even goes for it, to go archers.
Exactly. TaToH kind of needs to go for archers because you need an archer component, especially with archers probably being more important than cavalry in 2v2. So I feel like the Mayans being there and being the archer civ is probably an advantage for Vilas and Max. On the other hand, there is the awkward situation where Mayans will be dominating Cumans in late Imp, but Franks will do that against Sicilians as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Mayans have the edge with archers, but then if it gets to a certain point, and we've seen it before with Viper in tournaments where the paladins especially can dominate. So I don't think Velez is going to steal that Rhino, but he's come over here to Viper's base to see what Viper's up to. And there's a lot you can do with this Eagle to really annoy the enemy. Now, notice that Max has shown up here with him. Viper could lose 1 or 2 villagers on the wood line if he doesn't realize what's going on here.
And that is looking like a bad start for Viper, a very, very bad start. No Loom, and that's -1 will by the Finns. The other one will be safe, but that's definitely an excellent start for Suomi. And Viper only has 1 villager on wood right now, which will also hurt his sort of expansion towards scouts, especially if you want a fast feudal scouts play. And Viper has an isolated will on the berries, so Max and Bles could come back and try another one.
Yeah, you know what I would really like to see in this spot? I know Velez likes to open with archers, but there's the barracks. You already killed a villager from Viper. Why not drush him? Velez has gone drush fast castle pretty frequently in this tournament. Get some militia over to Viper's base and really delay the best civilization for the enemy, probably the best player for the enemy, and I think that Viper might have a tough time here. As for TaToH, I'm just wondering what the strat's going to be, because if he is going archers, he's not working with any bonuses that humans have.
Exactly, that's the main problem. That like he can't even afford to go 2 TCs, especially not with an archer build. So
yeah,
he's basically going to be playing with an archer civ that has 0 bonuses for what he's doing. And in comparison to Mayans that are definitely one of the best, if not the best archer civ of the game, that is a massive advantage on the side of Suomi.
Yep. Max brought his scout immediately back home, which I thought was pretty funny. If you look at his little journey here, he went over to Viper's base, helped block a villager, and now is back home. He's going to try his best to wall up. And those small little things Suomi are able to do strategically to stay in games, get ahead in games.
Viper run into the TC pair of Vilas, but he's lucky Vilas didn't react, because that scout was like a tile away from that TC. That would have been a dead scout. So Viper can say a big thank you to Vilas here for not losing that. And Viper is coming up with the walls, but I don't think those will be up before the militias arrive.
No, and he also didn't see the barracks. So I think that maybe he sensed it as he comes home. Oh, he saw the eagle was there, which is why he's coming home. But that villager's not going to get those walls down.
Definitely not, and the berries are definitely drushable here for Vilas. Does Vilas see the berries, actually? He does, so that is where he's going, and you already got a great value for this drush here.
Also, speaking of, TaToH coming in on the other side, so we have 2 drushes to look at right now, Lita. Viper with the quick walls, but he didn't get the quick walls out, and the villager could die with some blocking. This will be 2 villagers down for Viper as he tries to quick wall. And this should be blockable. I don't see... I mean, Viper could save it.
No, it's not. And if you look at the other side, there was nothing that TaToH could do with that drush. He even loses his scout in the process. Might be able to lame a sheep, but that's all he got for free militias, and that is an excellent start for Suomi.
Yeah, Viper also having his barracks delayed, almost losing a third villager. Yeah, this is... I don't want to be too extreme here, but this is something that I think that this should be game over at this point.
Yeah, or at least a
like,
massive lead.
like, how on earth is Viper going to be able to come back from this? 2 villagers down when you go up so quickly. He's sitting at 19 villagers. This is going to be so difficult.
Yeah, especially like if you take a look at that timing, this was basically a 21 pop feudal timing, but he's at 19 vills, and
Yeah.
he's nowhere close to dropping a stable in comparison to Max, who is just going for a feudal boom here, apparently. He's not even...
Well, I'm sorry. You were going to say he's not even adding a stable, and I got too excited, so I interrupted. My bad. But the thing is, it would be almost impossible for Viper to add a stable and keep villager production going. Look at his berry villagers, by the way. They're bugged out or not working. So he actually needs to commit to only farms, and I think that Max knows that after hearing for what he's hearing from Velez. And so Max is going to do the same thing. TaToH's going to be walled anyways, so Max just wants the stronger economy.
Indeed, and I feel like, especially considering that TaToH is going for a Drush of C, Max can get away with a very greedy boom here. Viper is going to have no scouts on the field, and this overall is going to favor Max and Velez very, very nicely, especially because those Sicilian farms with Horse Color will do wonders.
The biggest thing is just that Velez is going to have free reign to do whatever he wants, and this fast castle time should be insanely strong. He will have crossbow at Viper's base, and Viper's not walled. TaToH can't help him. I just don't see a result coming from this besides Viper or TaToH dying to crossbows. As Viper's actually made a mill as part of his wall over here. That is cute. Can someone take a picture of this? This is beautiful. We need to get this YouTube thumbnail for some reason, you know? Just this, maybe like this. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Velez is also going for a Drush FC here, but I am somewhat struggling to see what TaToH is going to Drush FC to. Like, it is going to be crossbow v crossbow. That would mean that Velez dominates it with Mayans without problems. And at stage 10, Max should have a massive upper hand compared to the Viper as well, with that earlier Castle Age timing.
Yep. Well, Viper's done a really good job doing what he could with this scenario. He will recognize there's... he's already behind, so he's just got to hope that Finland don't make the correct moves from here. He can't send additional villagers out the berries, which hurts. But what he did do was add that mill so he could take the zebra, take the ostrich, and he's on gold at the back. So in terms of uptime, he won't be too far behind the Max if Max is going up to Castle Age for Knights.
Yeah, that is definitely something that helps, although sustainability is a bit of a problem for him, because he's only at 9 farms as opposed to... well, it's only 9 as well for Max. So Viper's eco is actually very, very good given the circumstances.
And Max probably took all of his berries by now. Okay, he's got 2 bushes left. Viper has 4, 5. So yeah, that ends up being the difference. It does hurt too when you probably want to make use of that with Franks.
And Viper loses the scout. Viper lost his scout here to the Eagles, and that is also just further disaster for Game of Legion.
Yeah, I think it's on the bright side, it's expected what's coming. If Velez were to go with anything else but crossbow, I think Viper would be very surprised. So Viper gonna try his best here. Don't tell me he's gonna lose another one. The militia and the Eagle's still here.
The thing is that they don't have to be aggressive.
Start to a series.
Oh, another Vil could go down here. And they just need to keep the Voas open, because the archers are already coming in. Oh, Viper saves that Vil.
Those are funny, man. Now, Max has the scout, though. Max could actually find her. Max will be like, was it a woman or was it a man? Velez will be like, it was a lady. Go for the lady farmers. They're weak. Get them.
Or he's going to just choose a different lady to kill here.
Jeez. I mean, you block with the... I feel so bad for Viper.
He's getting destroyed, man. The archers are now in. How's Viper getting out of this?
No, this really has felt like Finland were going to close it out from the start, man. I mean, losing 2 villagers when you're going up with such a fast scout build is always going to be a disaster against the player players like this and a team like this, and Max and Velez are just suffocating Viper.
Yeah, I think I'm actually very surprised that Viper only lost 4 vills, given the circumstance that he's up so he can get a couple of knights out to clean this up. TaToH coming in to help, but Max is just sitting back at home and chilling, basically.
Yeah, and I just... There's nothing more that needs to be done at this point. You just add your TCs. You don't do anything fancy if you're Finland, and this should snowball. Viper's been running all around, switching wood lines, and it's just not a start to a series you'd want. Now, maybe, you take a deep breath if you're Viper and TaToH, realize, okay, we're probably going to lose this game, but we'll do our best, and then we'll regroup and bring it back in the remaining games, which is ultimately going to be what I think happens here. But, whoa, teleport much?
Yeah, this is...
They will clear this.
This is a very, very nice trap over there from Viper for those crossbows, and the number of crossbows matters a lot in 2v2s, just sustaining that blob of crossbows.
Yeah.
But the knights from Max for Viper's wood line.
Yeah, everyone else is walled, so at this point, it's just going to be a constant onslaught at Viper's base. Viper can't add a second town center, so he'll always be behind economically, whereas Max is already on his second TC, so Max sitting at 38 vills, Viper sitting at 32 vills. Suppose Viper is Franks, but, their only way out here, I would say, Lita, is if TaToH and Viper go for a lot of military, just understanding that economically they'll always be behind.
Yeah, it has to be a very aggressive play here. With Franks, you might be able to do that because, like, the free heavy blow helps quite a bit at sustaining that farming eco and just going for a very aggressive Castle Age play, but that's their thing. Mayans will just dominate the Kumans in terms of crossbows.
Yep. There will be more crossbow numbers out. Of course, the eco should, in many ways, be better for the Mayan player, too. But here you see this fight, and this is... Viper knows, I have to kill these crossbows. It's only going to get worse. I have to weaken them. Kill as many as possible, which he's working on. You start to see the difference now in terms of economy. It is 85 villagers for Team Suomi to 76 villagers for Team Gamer Legion. Again, surprised it's not worse. I really thought that maybe things would be a whole lot worse as Viper is going to add his second TC back at home. TaToH has actually been just sitting at 1, which I think is the play. Just go for tons of crossbows. It's the only way you have a way back.
Yeah, that is probably the only way back, especially with Max going for a very, very greedy, eco-heavy approach. He's on 3 TCs, but he doesn't even have scale barding on those knights. That is maybe overly greedy.
Maybe. I think he's going to calculate it, though. It's as long as he's not taking losses, he's not going to consider it greed. There's that scale barding upgrade. TaToH probably seeing, he doesn't have armor, but Max doesn't care. He has the numbers. They've doubled the HP in this fight, and kind of an expected result of all the things that have happened earlier on in this game.
Yeah, that is... Even without armor, that's a good fight for Max, and TaToH is going to lose a lot of crossbows, and I think now they can start focusing on TaToH because Viper is not really able to intervene.
Yep. And there's no way Viper can realistically damage Velez unless there's a hole in a wall or something.
It's...
Viper is... If Viper and TaToH have known for some time, I believe that this is probably over, but they're going to try through crossbow numbers, which can sometimes carry players back into games.
It can, but that is where Kumans will have a bit of a struggle as well, because they don't really scale well into Imperial as opposed to Mayans. So even if they drag this game out, they will have the problem of having to tech switch into either CA or Kipchak, but even Kipchak won't have Bracer, but that's a fast stumbling for TaToH. So, as you said, GL has to force fights here, and since both Suomi players are going for an eco-heavy approach, they could get punished for this.
This is, you know how... You like NFL football, right? I know a lot of viewers might not, but I know you're big into the NFL, actually. You know how, like, sometimes one team's ahead by 3 touchdowns, but there's a full quarter left, and they have to run out that quarter, and the one team still really tries until the game inevitably ends?
Yeah, they do.
That's kind of what I feel like we're at right now. Because here comes TaToH with his crossbow. He's going to try...
I mean,
but he's got caught out.
He's got Thumbring, and those knights don't have +2, so this might be a little bit of an overextension from Suomi, but they have a so big lead that they might be able to afford that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, getting chain barding. I guess Sicilians, they don't farm faster. They just have more food on their farms.
No,
so
I think the biggest advantage of the Sicilian bonus is actually right here, right now, when you have to establish it, because that's where you have low wood, and Viper calls it,
Yep.
indeed. So that's where you have limited amount of wood available, and the fact that you don't have to replenish them that early helps quite a bit at just adding more instead of rebuilding the ones that run out.
Yep, exactly. So the game ends, and just a conscious effort from Velez and the Max to get to Viper's base at the 4-minute mark. It's really hard to defend from those moments. The only way you can really defend is quick walls, and it usually only happens when you have an eagle and a scout. The scout's fast enough to block the villagers, the eagle with the damage output, and it was great execution, which led to then a drush, which worked out perfectly. And again, good execution from Velez. That is probably going to be the easiest game that Suomi gets in this series. I don't think Gamer Legion are going to falter early on much more.
Especially with the maps that are remaining, because we have much more defendable maps remaining here. Viper, I'm actually surprised to see that he only lost 6 vills, but even that 6 vills, especially the early ones, as you said, it's not just about the vill numbers, it's about how long they are alive. And if you look at Viper's overall eco, that was nowhere close to the other players' ecos.
Yeah, he lost 6 villagers, resulted in him being behind by 18 or 20. And yeah, so much for Gamer Legion potentially 3-0ing this one. Suomi came to play today. Score 1-0 now.
Indeed, and Suomi is very, very determined over here. So
It's so interesting. So now things have changed a lot over the last year, but Finland or Suomi or Winlands, depending on who you support, the Winlands team has oftentimes been able to put up really good fights against formerly Secret or Tyrant and now Gamer Legion. Whereas Finland struggle big time against some of the nerds from like AM and now Tempo. But then Tempo AM would struggle against Gamer Legion. So it's this weird food triangle amongst their scene right now. The food pyramid or whatever, food chain. There we go. That's what I was looking for.
indeed, and like Suomi, for example, in 2v2 World Cup ended in quarterfinals. Obviously,
Yep.
they lost to the champion, the Chinese team, so that's nothing to be ashamed of. But they're probably looking for another, like, at least top 4 finish in a team game event, because it has been a long time since we have seen them in there. Like, it was only 2v2 World Cup and BOA 2 that had such team game settings.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, hey, I'm ready when you are to find out if Gamer Legion is going to respond here. I don't really think there was much of a chance for them. So to any who might speculate, oh my goodness, what is happening to Gamer Legion? Yeah, all the negative things in that game happened 5 minutes in. So let's not get too up in arms just yet. We have a long best of 5 ahead of us, I'm sure.
It is, and like GL is the masters of recovery. I'm ready at 10 seconds, so
Cool. We'll start on 1. So 3, 2, 1, and yeah, we'll hop into the game. Here we are, Leadcore. Yeah, there would be a lot of action in this series. Yet I take it and take it away, Leadcore.
Alright, so we have Forest Pond over here, a map that GL loved to use, or well, it was Team Secret back then in TwoPools 1, and I remember Viper's favorite save at that time was Malay, and he had insane fish booms on this map, so this is a super strong map for GL, and they are one of the rare teams that have a decent experience on this map overall. Max will be playing yellow Celts to the south, Persians for Villas in red, and Viper will be playing Italians in green and Bulgarians for TaToH in blue. A little bit surprising Civ pick there from TaToH.
Surprising, perhaps a result of TwoPools and being forced to use civs in spots like Cuman's in game number 1, which didn't seem to shine. But then again, they probably would have wanted Franks to shine, which did not at all happen. So first thing I picked up on was this little build order from Velez. Now, low elo legends will appreciate this. Since Persians start with plus 50 food and plus 50 wood, Velez has chose to make a dock and make a fishing ship before making a lumber camp. So that gives him an eco lead already at the start. It's unique. It does give you some efficiency problems at some point, but if high-level players do it, I think everyone should do it.
Indeed, it's it's one of the two civs that really do this very early dock play. The other one is Lithuanians.
Yeah.
But what I want to talk about more here is the Bulgarians pick, because we talked about this before, that maybe the best way to play this map, although there is no real definitive meta for this, could be one player fighting water, the other one going for like a fast castle aggressive play.
Yeah.
You could do that with Bulgarian Kreposts, and GL wouldn't be shying away from creative strategies like that.
Yeah. Now, do you want to do that against Celts, right? Because Celts could, in many ways, maybe counter that if they expected. But you're definitely right, Lita, that oftentimes when two people are focused on water for one team, someone else can go for the land aggression. We have seen castle drops before. Krepos drop would be a bit easier. But when I see Viper Civ Italians, I think Viper's going to try and win water here. When I see Celts, I think that they could go water or boom on land, maybe go for siege. I see Persians the same, but Bulgarians, I'm with you. Just that Civ we need to pay attention to because it's not quite suited for winning water.
It isn't. And it could indeed be Suomi trying to go for a double water play. So Viper is going to have a tough time ahead of him winning water, but we know how good he is on water, so I am fairly certain that he's at least going to delay Suomi quite heavily.
What do you think about Man-at-Arm Tower from TaToH? Because you get the Man-at-Arm upgrade for free. With the way the maps are situated, there can sometimes be golds and stones towards the palisade walls. Now, Max's base would be perfect against Man-at-Arm Tower. But what do you think in general about applying pressure with Feudal Age?
It's tricky. I feel like it is possible because there is just nowhere to go if you lose the front of your base. The problem that I have with that is that if you take a look at Max's base, he's got save gold, save stone. So you gotta wonder how much damage you can do with just a couple of towers. You will slow down one player, but probably it's better to do it in Castle Age because then you can follow it up with siege easily.
Maybe. Yeah, it's a hard one, right? Because if you delay that pressure in Feudal, then that player can just fight on water, and Celts should be quite good at that. It's hard to say. But if you look at Velez's base, for example, sometimes those stones and golds are forward. You don't have any real way of knowing what the enemy's going to do. TaToH, I don't think he's going to go that route. It doesn't seem like he's saving up any wood for barracks or anything, but he's the only one who hasn't clicked up the Feudal Age yet. Will he do so?
He only pushed in 2 deer, so if this is a fast castle, then it would be very tight, and the answer is no. So it looks like GL will focus on water just as much as Suomi, but in that case, Persians, Celts are light years ahead of Italians, Bulgarians.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, Italians, I might prefer an island situation, but if it's just going to be fire ships and a race to Castle Age, I'd give Italians a lesser lead as Viper deletes his palisade wall. This is one of my favorite features of this map, because it's just the tiny details that make Age of Empires great. Deleting the palisade wall, and then just moving out here to get more efficient fishing, and blocking that again with a bit of a dock block.
Indeed, and that is going to help make the middle fish a lot easier to access, and it also helps you reinforce the front line a little bit easier, although that delays that dock a little bit for Viper, so he won't be at 2 just when reaching Feudal.
Okay, so double dock here. He's expecting fires. We'll probably see a lot of demos, and we saw this in the previous quarterfinal, and it was just a whole big mess of different colors of fires and demos. So I guess all teams taking the same approach here then. Not deviating much from that. Oh, this could be a big deal, though. TaToH Scout's going to get hit. Whoop! Oh, never mind. They're both in Feudal. I thought maybe Max could get a hit before.
Okay,
and
make your
who
bets.
Wins this? GL always wins.
Yeah, GL wins.
GL always wins these. See? I don't know why. I don't know if Viper shares the trick, but GL always wins those. Scout won the previous set. TaToH won this one. Can't explain it because they both attacked at the same time. But I say that because Viper has historically always had a knack for winning those, and so I figured he shared the secret to his friends.
Shared the secret to his friends?
No, it's the Legion to his friends. Get it right, man. All right, well, we've got the fires going in here, and that'll end up fine for TaToH. Little 2-for-1 action, and so with these small moments, I would prefer Gamer Legion start.
It's interesting because I feel like the water is favoring Suomi here a little bit. You already have 4 fire galleys out for Viles, although he's gonna have to do some repairs back at home. For now, the ecos are dead even.
I don't think we'll see a big... I don't think we're going to see a big differences there economically, but the ecos do matter so much. And I think that as that demo goes off for Viper, and that was a good demo hit, as he has to micro away. Boom, never mind.
An even better demo hit over there, and
yeah.
Persian docks help here so much. It's the production speed, it's also the HP, so it's very hard to get rid of them if you are Gamer Legion. And if you look at the other side, I think Max is also sort of winning it against TaToH, or at least having a very even fight here for now.
Yeah, they'll win it until a demo comes in, and then it will be even again. And oh, that was a great demo for the Max.
It was great, and now you already have the fishing eco being pushed, and that means that you already have idols and a galley from Max. Maybe to just snipe fishing ships here?
That's got to be a misclick, right?
I would assume
switching
so.
to galleys? I think that galley's a misclick. That's not really going to help much here.
Oh, big demo on the left side. Nice split from Viles to avoid that. So there is definitely a lot of idle time, and Viper loses that demo to the fire galleys, and Viper's gonna have to split away from another demo here.
Yeah, this is pretty much what we expect for the next couple minutes here, and at home, players will be adding farms and going to their berries, and here comes TaToH. Maybe a 2v1 opportunity. This just looks so funny. I'm sorry, I cannot get over how all this looks. This is the way it's supposed to be played, they think.
Oh, the demo. That could be big from TaToH to try and sink those fishing ships or just the fire galleys, and GL slowly taking on water.
Yeah. Numbers are even now. Fishing ships are going down. Oh, that was a nice demo there, though. This is what I find so silly about the meta, is that demos are going to come out from the defensive players here in a moment, and it should swing back in their favor. I could be wrong, as Viper and TaToH proving me wrong a little bit.
Yeah, it's also worth pointing out that there is a lot more TC idle time for Suomi, both of them having 1 minute plus, whereas GL has limited TC idle time, and that contributes to the fact that GL is 8 villagers ahead already combined.
Maybe that also contributes to why Suomi has the military lead in water, is just they're microing more and macroing a bit less. Would seem like the natural conclusion to draw from that.
But first to castle is going to be Max. He actually went for a market, but he didn't sell his stone, so this is just a natural castle agent.
Wow.
He was the only player whose fishing eco wasn't pushed, so probably that's the reason why he's up so fast.
That's actually sick. He doesn't have many farms. He didn't take all of his berries. How is that possible? And look at him. He's going out to stonewall that whole side. That's a fascinating decision there from Max, because you could think he could be aggressive if he wanted to.
Indeed, but I feel like at this point, Suomi is confident they win water, and then they just want to stonewall the sides and make sure that GL can't push them. Especially TaToH is the dangerous one with potential creposts.
Yeah, and we talked about that too. Like, Bulgarians probably want to go land over water long term. See if TaToH scouts that. I think his scout is actually auto-scouting in the south if you look to the mini-map. As Max is still the only player who's clicked up to the next stage.
Yeah, and that should be enough to secure them a win. A big demo comes in here from Max. It is now very little water control for GL, and they will start losing their fishing eco here.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing for Suomi. They have Max, who will be in Castle Age in 30 seconds. Max is going to stonewall this side. Viper will lose his water control, most likely. Yeah, I don't see Viper and TaToH having fish, or... Well, they should have some docks, but not most of their docks. If Max just wants to boom and go water... Oh my goodness. Here comes TaToH with a villager. Will TaToH's villager make it through?
I don't think so, because Max knows that there might be something coming, and he's just gonna block it. I think Max might even see that wolf through the fog of war, right? Nope, he doesn't.
He doesn't see it. Now, there's still a gap that Max would have to check, and he doesn't have a scout. So if he doesn't click past the wall to just check that there's a hole, TaToH could make it through, and TaToH's scout also does not know the stone walls are there, so his pathing is going to be weird.
I think he might just bump into the walls, and that is going to help Max find the South Sea. He bumps into the walls.
Oh, there's a hole there!
Oh, my brain. My
And
heart.
Max had clicked past to see if there's a hole. He'll go back and see the villager made it through, and he'll say, "Oh, there's a hole there." He might actually leave the other hole if he thinks this through, but TaToH's through, and that I don't think is something that Max will know.
Yeah, honestly, Max might have been looking at the middle, microing his fire ship, so there's a chance that Max lets this get away. And previous set of Suomi, yesterday I was casting it with Zupi, and both Max and Vilas had some very, very bad holes in occasions, and that's something he said as well, that that's disaster from Suomi from that perspective.
Get Velez and Max happy, I'm sure, but they don't know. Call Max Scotty, because he doesn't know. I wonder if the villagers on the way back, though, will notice this, because TaToH's going to go barracks, monastery, siege workshop.
I think he won't see it.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Oh, this could be a deciding thing here, because
Yeah.
they're winning water and they have a 10 villagers lead. They will know about this hole on the right side, but they have no idea. Maybe the villager, like the lady coming back, could find it, but I think that's already gonna be too late, because the workshops are up.
Yeah, Viper's not giving up on water for his team, too, so he'll be letting TaToH know if you're through, especially if he's stonewalling. This is going to be perfect for us. So just keep it up, buddy. And Viper back in business on water. And yeah, you can't really expand fishing eco too much now anyways.
No, I feel like this is the moment where Suomi might need to think about just bailing out on water, but it's always tough to judge, because if you bail out, you leave the back of your base open, but there is not much fish that's left to fight for in here.
Okay, is that Velez scout auto-scouting? I think that's an auto-scout at this point.
Yeah, it's an auto-scout, and he will auto-find this one, and look at the ping on the minimap, immediately telling his teammate, even though at this point, Max knows it by himself, seeing that mangonel anyways.
Max opens with a university, immediately goes to stone, so he wants to defend with guard towers here. Not a bad defense against Mangonel push, but throughout all these distractions and all these switches, Viper actually has been able to come back on water, and Viper also with 2 town center eco. His eco's not too bad here. In fact, everyone's pretty close across the top there, economically.
And there is not a lot of fish left to take, but if there is one team that will just start to fish boom on this lake, that's gonna be GL and Viper. Already knows that he's got the lead, and he will start adding fish on the pond. TaToH, not yet.
Yeah, and speaking of GL strength, TaToH will see the university, and he'll know what that means. Like, oh, he's gonna go guard tower. That's cute. I invented that. So let's see how that works. And it just probably the worst possible feeling for Max right now, because he can't even make his towers very far forward. So he's given up a lot of map control. He had the idea of walling it up, and it has failed. And everything that he was planning on changes now.
Exactly. And he can't even push water anymore, which means that Viper and TaToH will have an untouched fish boom, and Viper does mean business, and this is where Italians with the cheaper fishing ships come into play.
Also, this is the second series in a row where we have seen Celts of all civilizations being pushed by Mangonels. That is normally not a thing. TaToH, you're kidding me, the MVP scout! Oh my goodness, both Mangonels were weak, and TaToH's scout takes out the Mangonel. Of all things.
The value is crazy there. And the blacksmith being taken down would mean that there is going to be no Botkin arrow for those guard towers, which is quite important when it comes to taking down those mangonels. And there's going to be absolutely nowhere to go for Max. Viper has the pond. Viper could even add some war galleys to just start denying the resources on the shoreline.
Yeah, that's one thing that we've seen. Transports and war galleys on the shoreline really pens these people in here, and there you see TaToH, good focus here. And there is a TC for Max over at Velez's base, but I think now this becomes a matter of Velez needs to help in some way. Either full booms to Imp, as he's stonewalling, or trying to stonewall the other side, or he maybe sends some light cav over here, Knights, I'm not sure. TaToH has 4 town centers.
Bulgarians coming in clutch here with the cheaper stone cost. Viper also has 3. And Viper also has quite a lot of fishing eco working for him. Only 3 TCs for Vilas, although those are Persians, but GL takes over in eco quite considerably.
Yeah, I think Viper will add fish traps. It's a very Viper thing to do, and with Italians, makes sense. So TaToH just moving around with this AI army composition here. It's looks a little funny, but it is something that at least Max will be happy to not see at his base any longer.
Indeed, and I love that forward TC by the way from TaToH, because now they are stonewalled off, so reinforcements could be cut off, but when you have a forward TC, you can just build up villager numbers over there, so it's very hard to clean that forward.
Yeah. This is fun to watch here as Max gets a 1-for-1. Probably best case scenario, and TaToH just must be wondering, Max has got to have more, right? I can't push there anymore. Can I maybe go over to Velez? Oh boy, and now he sees Max has a TC. And Max out of the Siege Workshop here already, so he's kind of prepared for that. But even though, if you look at the stats, the eco's pretty close. TaToH and Viper, they can do whatever they want with their eco. They can expand it to any direction. That is not at all the case right now for Max and even Velez soon, as here comes TaToH.
But Vilas is imping, and one thing that the GL doesn't really have is like a huge army. They have siege here, but Vilas with the paladins could definitely surprise here, although the composition is there for Viper and TaToH to stop that, but it takes time to get in there.
Yeah. And Viper clicks up now, so he's not too far behind. And I think right now is a stage where Viper's not even sure if he should go Genoese crossbowman or not, because he doesn't necessarily know what the enemy is going to go for. But you will start to see some text come in as we see the Mangonels trade. And what in the world? I almost want to rewind that, but I won't. Redemption now
monks.
in.
And that's actually a question I wanted to ask. Do Bulgarians have redemption? And the answer is yes, a big yes, in fact.
Okay. Castle still goes up for Max. Max with 80 vills. TaToH with 92. It's manageable. And I see a random ram from Max. I'm not sure why he made that, but that will go down now.
Yeah,
that night.
That feels like wasted resources. And TaToH can always think about Krepos drops or maybe even a forward castle. Like, if you can trap Max's eco inside his base, that's already a disaster for Max because he's gonna have nowhere to go.
Yeah, I would be a little concerned about making a forward castle if you think Max is up, but I wouldn't think Max would be up to imp yet, right? So Max is expanding now, making pikemen, something that TaToH should spot here. He sees the barracks at least, and he's getting chain barding armor. So I think he wants to continue in Castle Age against the Max, adding more random stables for more of these knights.
It looks like Viper is going to play Arbalest with a forward castle, but the problem is that Persian knights will do a lot more damage against archers, and unless those are Genoese crossbows, they will struggle mightily.
Yeah, this is such a weird situation, isn't it? Persians have extra attack versus archers, but Genoese crossbowmen have extra attack versus the cav. I'd like to see Genoese crossbowmen versus Persian paladins, because I don't think I've seen that.
I think Genoese crossbows lose unless you have good numbers, because you don't have a meat shield in front, they're fairly fragile, and you have a much more problematic production than paladins.
Not really a fan of how Viper just says, hey, treb me. Like, that castle can be so easily trebbed from the other side. And Viper can see that Velez has an outpost, so that's weird to me. But maybe he thought he would be Imperial Age before Velez. I think that's just, that castle's doomed now.
And Bold Raiders coming in here from Max to clean up the forward from our blue player. And if you look at Max's resources, he's not that far away from imping.
He's got a lot on food. I mean, knights are coming over here from Velez, so you think you'd probably be pikemen and knights good against whatever TaToH's making, and TaToH's kind of on his own right now. And Viper's, well, he's going to have units, but right now he just has to repair that castle, which is, again, so questionable, you know? Placing it where the archer ranges were would have been perfect.
Yeah, indeed. And that castle is gonna go down, I believe, especially if Velez sets up the second trap. Still, this buys some time for TaToH or Viper to get his Arbalest numbers up, but like, just pure Arbalest from Viper shouldn't beat Persian Paladin, as GL is already setting up trades, something that they love to do early on.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, that's probably the most important thing we can point out right now. TaToH is currently living on enemy land, all right? He didn't pay for this land. He is a trespasser, and he's taking some of the resources with him. So if these villagers die, if this base gets cleaned up, TaToH still has this base back here, and he's actually prepped his defenses for if that time comes. So if you start trading heavily in GL's position, you'll be okay. And Viper with the bombard cannons, this explains it. This explains why he was comfortable with that castle. It actually cannot be trebbed with the way Viper's walls are placed.
Yeah. Viper's gonna open up those walls as well so he can venture a little bit deeper in and let the dodgeball begin, says Vilas as he's bringing in some bombard cannons on his own.
Yep. There's a very strong chance we will only see bombard cannon micro on this side for the next 5 minutes.
And
But
a
there's
castle.
no reason to do anything else, so...
A castle on the right side by TaToH that should go up, and it looks like he's stacking into swordsman. So it's going to be Celtic versus... Look at the queues on TaToH's barracks here. He's got like swordsman, pikeman, swordsman, pikeman, swordsman, pikeman queued up.
You know, I once played a game versus a player named Dragonstar on Arena. I was Celts, he was Bulgarians. It was right after Bulgarians came out. I don't think there have been any changes since. I went Elite Woad Raider, and he went Bagane's two-handed swordsman. And the Bagane's two-handed swordsman with all that melee armor wrecked the Woads, and I was shocked. So I think if you go Halb two-handed swordsman with Bagane's, it might actually be really strong against what Max is going to send TaToH's way.
And it looks like now Viper launches an offensive, and he was given time to get to Genoese crossbows. So that's going to be a little bit more problematic, but Max or Vilas is coming in with the Paladins soon. And one thing to point out is that TaToH is blocking the trade for Suomi here, as he's getting Baganes, as you said.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, as long as you hold that corner and make your own trade, the longer you hold this corner, the better. And TaToH he's got fortifications galore. Double castle, barracks, crepe host. And it's just dodgeball on this side. Viper could actually go for Redemption Monks to convert the bombard cannons if he really wanted something else.
Indeed. I love how Viper is using his unique techs, both Silk Road to establish trade, but Pavisa is more important. Having extra pierce armor and melee armor on those archers is very, very helpful.
Both players trading bombard cannons. Viper's bombard cannon's not being repaired yet, but he splits away and takes the Trev. I love bombard cannon micro. It's so satisfying.
Oh yeah, and Viper loves it too right now in this position because they were already setting up trade, whereas Max and Vilas do not. I think Max and Vilas have to start adding trade cards, even if it's just shorter range trade, because it takes a lot of time to get trade cards up.
Yeah, and also there's golds that they can't. Well, in particular, I guess Max can't take because of TaToH's position. Now this is Paladin. And are these Elite Woad Raiders here? I can't even click one right now.
But Paladins will also struggle a little bit against those swordsmen because the melee armor applies against Paladin as well. And as you said, that's a massacre.
Those weren't Elite Woad Raiders, and regular Woad Raiders are pretty trash. But I'm telling you, man, Bulgarian infantry is sick. And the position from TaToH is sick. He didn't want to just hold this position. He wanted to win this position.
And he sort of needs that because now there's a counterattack from Vilas. Viper accidentally opened the gates and the Paladins are overrunning the bombard cannons.
He Hodored it. Viper. Dude, that's really bad, actually. He lost like 5 or 6 bombard cannons. He's Hodoring again, but
and now the gate is down.
Running in.
This is the moment to strike for Vilas. There isn't really a lot of Genoese crossbows and they don't have a lead. They could have even stopped this castle maybe from Viper.
Oh, boy. Where did that come from, right? I mean, everything was looking so good on the other side. Viper still pretty confident he can hold this position, I feel, because he's just made another castle here. But there's 3 trebs, there's 2 bombard cannons, and maybe a bit of an overextension from Viper. And if he invests into a bunch of castles here that he just ends up losing, he won't have anything behind this.
And no Genoese
another
crossbows.
Castle denied behind this.
And he's going to lose castles, which means he's only Arbs against Paladins, and the Paladins will eat the Arbs. This is looking very good on the left side for Suomi. The right side is looking grim.
Yeah.
But it looks like we'll have Heavy Scorpion coming in here for Max, trying to hold this castle as long as possible.
That is so sick, though. That is probably the only thing you can do with Celts against this, is go Heavy Scorpion, and with a mix of Woad Raiders, probably.
Yeah, maybe Onagers, but it depends. Yeah, you need some sort of meat shield like Woad Raiders or so, but TaToH is kind of defeating Max here. But also Viper is losing to Vilas on the north big time.
Well, I guess the difference is that Viper and TaToH have better trade, but I mean, Viper losing 3 castles on the front is not going to make Gamer Legion fans very comfortable right now.
Absolutely. Viper has a big production bottleneck with Gembos, and he even ends up stopping the production. And I'm starting to feel like this could turn into just a 1v1 with Vilas versus TaToH, because both Viper and Max are going to suffer really badly here.
Well, the thing is, even though Scorpions are good against infantry, they still cost gold, which is something Suomi won't have long term. And TaToH has so much military that he can lose 10 longswordsmen, or sorry, two-handed swordsmen for every Scorpion he kills and still come out on top. So I think, even though it's not pretty, as Viper would fail another castle, what is happening? Anyways, I believe that it should be more realistic for Gamer Legion to hold on, because TaToH is going to kill Max faster than Les is going to kill Viper.
Exactly. I think Arson on those swordsmen comes in clutch, and like Viper can slow this one down with castles, whereas Max has nothing to slow this down with. Max is dropping in Will count really badly. Commander and crossbows could help against this one, but as you said, it seems like Max is just dying faster than Viper.
Yeah. And I also don't know what you can do with Persians Celts to counter Bagane's Halb two-handed swordsman. Like, I mean, there's options, but an Elite Woad Raider is one that comes to mind. But as I've stated, I actually feel like it has not been convincing in situations I've seen it. And this is just so well played from TaToH. I mean, the mark of a good team is when one player isn't quite having their day or having their game, the other player steps up, and maybe that's the case right now with TaToH stepping up as Viper losing a position he'll be disappointed to have lost.
Yeah. He's still having a decent amount of Genoese crossbows, so that helps a little bit.
Yep.
But
he does. And he's treating this like he's never going to lose the position, right? He's repairing.
Yeah.
He's reinforcing.
And no more Paladins for Vilas. And I think as it seems like now Gamer Legion is going to take the game, we can go back to that one moment where Max was microing his ships and he didn't notice the two villagers slipping by.
Yeah. It was a nice idea. It was a really nice idea to wall it up, because it would have avoided this right here. It would have avoided all of this struggle. But TaToH with the sneak, taking the risk, getting the villager forward. Now, another thing to mention, Max lost his scout in that scout war in early feudal. I don't think that TaToH would have tried to sneak if Max had a scout out there. So TaToH, he made the proper decisions based on everything that had transpired in that game.
Exactly. And really, TaToH's sneak here almost... I'm not going to say it saved the game for GL because Viper wasn't dead, but without that sneak, this could have been a very, very tough game for GL.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if Celts boom, which is what Max wanted to do, untouched, I think you get to the siege with Woad Raiders, and then Bulgarians are worse. But if it's just siege against Bulgarians, Bulgarians win. If it's just Woad Raiders and no siege, I think that Bulgarians win that too, which we clearly saw there. But yeah, you see the KD, TaToH mopping up everything in that game, and economically, TaToH and Viper with more gold brought in after they traded very early there.
And that evens out the set, a very, very much needed win for GL, but they weren't as convincing as you would expect them to be. And after 2 games, I think that this series could go down to 5 games very easily.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that, I mean, you could also say from Suomi's side, they won water, and then somehow they won water. Max was in Castle Age 2 minutes faster, and they didn't take advantage of that situation. So I could say it's just a good competitive match. We get used to things being so near perfection, but when you put 2 near perfect teams against each other, there's bound to be some imperfections that spurt from that. So
exactly,
I'm excited for the next game, and I think that the theme in this tournament has been preparation on home maps. Gamer Legion just won on theirs, and logically Suomi will have something prepped.
Well, that's definitely what they hope for, as we are going to Coast to Mountain.
Okay. So Coast to Mountain, a map we've seen before, but normally a map we've seen with Mongols. I know we will not have Mongols based on their Civ draft this time.
Indeed. So I would assume, since we are seeing a Nomad start, something like Malians and maybe Goths could work out nicely as a combo, as opposed to maybe pulling the trigger on Lithuanians now, or you go for Japanese. I think it's either Japanese or Lithuanians for Suomi here.
Okay. Well, when you're ready, I'm ready to go, and you can do the 3, 2, 1 countdown this time. Make it easy.
All right, I'm ready. So let's do a 3, 2, 1 now.
All right, Cool.
So,
Here we go.
I think you're good to go to introduce the civs this time. I did it in the first 2 games, so now it's your turn.
Okay, we'll alternate. Sorry, it's a matter of what I'm used to. That's all. I'm sure you understand. Well, in the red we have Velez. Velez is playing as the Lithuanians, as you speculated, Lidakor. And then in the yellow we have the Max. Max is playing Burmese. Lithuanians being that civ that was picked very early on in their draft. The Lithuanians is civ that I think is just coveted by anyone who doesn't have them. And then for Gamer Legion, you have TaToH. Walking all the way over to the wood line here with Goths. It is a nomad start, so he was later to get his TC completed. And then Viper abandoning the middle and going over to the mountain region. So TaToH's by the coast, Viper's by the mountain with Berbers, and that is the name of this map.
Indeed. How do you feel about this map, by the way? We'll have a slow Dark Age, so we can hear your opinions.
Okay, so in general, I am not a fan of maps that have the Bactrian camel as a scout. Because I feel like the scout is so important for stopping some walls and things like that, getting dock villagers. I think there's reasons for it, because people would probably have their scouts going to the shoreline right away. But I would say that the one thing I don't like about the map is just the fact that Scout Rush seems a lot weaker because you have an additional 2 minutes. You don't have to worry about a scout showing up because they're still adding the stable and getting the scout out. But I think that what I do like about this map is that I've seen it won and lost in so many different ways, which is a sign of a good map. Someone can get an advantage on water, but then if you focus too much on the water and on the coast, then you might lose out in land too. So I suppose to answer your question simply, I do like the map. I just not a fan of the whole scout aspect.
Yeah, it is an interesting debate because adding a scout to Nomad start always feels a little bit risky.
Yeah.
Overall, but yeah, being able to scout early on is something that you need for this map, I believe, because otherwise it would take forever for you to place the TC because you really have to scout like a good spot. Overall, I think the fun thing about this map is that this has been a long forgotten tournament map, so I think
I think it was NAC2 or NAC1. I forget which tournament introduced it. I don't know if it was the original or if it was a classic idea.
I don't know which introduced it, but I know that the last big event that actually used it was NAC2.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so that's the last event I remember that from as well. I can remember casting the qualifiers there. You know what's fascinating about having Berbers on a map like this is your villagers are so fast. There's elephants and rhinos everywhere. You could just conceivably bring in those things from all over the place. This one's doable. I know you can't see Lita, but to the south of Viper's TC is doable. He's heading way out there to get that one too, and that would not actually be possible or easy to do with any other civ.
Exactly. It's still risky because the Bactrian camels can come into block, but that seems like that is going to be unlikely to happen. And Viper is going to have a great starting food eco with Berbers. I like this civ idea for him here.
Did you see what just happened in the dock of Velez? Velez had that shorefish there, and TaToH came in to fight the Vil, and there was no loom for Velez because he's on the way up without loom, which is something you can do when there's no scout. And Velez ran away and then quick walled it off. So TaToH tried to kill the Vil and failed there as Velez is going up so quick to try and take out enemy fishing ships.
Indeed.
I'm sorry to interrupt again. Is this the fastest feudal time you've ever seen on this map? I have not seen a 7-minute feudal on this before.
It's actually very, very fast. I feel like it's more about the fact that Lithuanians weren't used that frequently on this map, because this is something I wanted to ask. Lithuanians here are almost guaranteed 2 relics, because you have 2 on your side and 1 in the middle. But you will be capped at 3, in comparison to Cape of Storms, where you can go for the same hybrid map build, so to say, and potentially secure more relics. So it is mostly used on Cape of Storms, but it looks like they will save Japanese for that map. And Viper is on stone, so are we gonna see early camel archers here, potentially as a counter pick to the Burmese Arambai?
I don't know if it's a counter to Arambai necessarily. I just think it's I think it largely comes down to the fact that Viper feels like he's going to have the food and the position to wall and play safe. But You can tell already, he knows his fishing ships are going to be spotted based on that feudal time. So he's he's going to take that shorefish with 6 fishing ships and 1 villager. And I guess TaToH as well. I mean, the thing is, I don't know what TaToH's strategy was, but I think normally you would be aiming to go fast feudal 930 to fight for water in TaToH's position, but you can't do that now. You're just so far behind. Everything changes. This build is insanely quick from Velez, and everything's streamlined initially towards gold and wood.
Indeed, and this could mean that Gamer Legion loses water very easily, which is an easy fish boom in that case for Vilas and Max. It looks like we're forward barracks here from TaToH, so he's not ready to go down just yet, and he's going to play very aggressive here against Vilas.
Ooh. Okay, TaToH. Okay, Power of the Goths. Now did he lose his camel? He's actually not using his camel, which I think is a slip up. You should be scouting to see what the enemy's up to. You can't see those wall foundations.
Especially because the Bactrian camels have auto scout on them. So technically you can have 100% scouting. I think Red Bull Voldo 2 had the issue with Bactrian camels about that.
Yeah.
TaToH with the sneak once again behind the walls. I think that if you're TaToH, you might delete that outpost. Because that could make Vilas think that there's a villager here. If you delete that outpost, Vilas might have no idea that this vill is here.
I think Velez is going to find out the hard way. I think he's going to find out the hard way. Here come the man-at-arms. And the camel's now been brought in to block, which is something you could and should do. You can't attack with it, but you can use the humpiness of it to block it off. And that's 1 vill down for Velez. Now, he has the fishing ships, but how many villagers is he going to lose to this? That's 2. And these things have barely been damaged, and archers will be on the way soon for TaToH.
Exactly. At this pace, our red player will soon be vill-less.
Okay, all right, you win. All right, I surrender, uncle. I give up. How long have you been saving that one? Maybe you've used it all the time. I don't know.
2 games. I've been saving that for 2 games.
Wow, congratulations. Well, I'm not going to beat that. I can tell you that much. But TaToH is... What I like about this attack is it's not just the kills, but it's the time, you know? He's bought so much time for himself. A freaking camel's there, still blocking buildings. Now we're seeing the benefit of going on lands on this map, which is what makes Coast to Mountain so cool.
And TaToH simultaneously is adding galleys to try and snipe fishing ships of the opponent.
Yeah.
And, oh, there's more. There is more dying here for Vilas, and everything seems to fall apart for him.
Oh, man. This is awful. Now, the Max has scouts, and he was trying to hit somebody, and I'll have to check and see if he even found the Viper. But the Max is here to help. Look at the overall eco number. It's actually pretty crazy. Velez still has 28 eco, but he might not if TaToH's able to snipe the fishing ships. Yo, what a beast TaToH has been in this game so far. Man-at-arm rushing and also sniping fishing ships. Viper is going to do the carry role with that fast castle.
Exactly, but TaToH is giving him a lot of time to go for a fast castle, and another villager could go down here. Something that could have been avoided. Overall, finally man-at-arms get cleaned up, but this is... Oh, the camel.
Not the camel. What did the camel do to you, Max? Yeah, that was more than worth it. That was beautiful. And it feels like that was an adaptation there. I don't think that's a strategy that you really open up trying to do. I think TaToH just switched into that after seeing that feudal time. And that's got to be something that Finland practiced and prepared, because that build order was nuts.
Yeah, that was very, very good. Still, they have the eco lead, and Max is going to be in Castle Age. And TaToH is nowhere close to Castle Age, and Vilas clicks up with Lithuania. So this is far from over yet, because that fishing eco is just absolutely crazy, especially for Max.
Yeah, very strong. And Velez was still there to able to defend. I think TaToH did what he could as he actually lost that villager. But everything's paying off here for Finland despite that.
Exactly.
But it really, it goes to show you how good Velez's build was, that TaToH could do all that damage, and then we could still be saying Gamer Legion is behind.
And it looks like we'll have camel archers here for the Viper. What is your response to camel archers here? Because Burmese will struggle against that very, very badly.
Yeah. Well, I think the big concern is more so, well, you're going to go Knights for now. But the problem with seeing Camel Archers at this time is that there's really nothing stopping Viper from massing them. Because he should never lose them because they're just as fast as Knights. So the fact that Viper can hit and run, if he doesn't make any big mistakes, means that Viper is going to have good eco and upwards of 20, 30 Camel Archers as he goes to Imp when that eventually goes down.
Vilas might lose some more villas here on the south. He just went back to that gold mine and TaToH said, hey, I'm still here.
Oh man, TaToH kind of reminding me of Licks right now. just being annoying. Falling behind economically and being annoying, yeah, that's pretty Licks-like if you ask me. Earlier today, we saw Licks play with Yo, and Licks always tries his best to prop his teammate up to win the game, and that's exactly what TaToH's doing with Viper.
Yeah, but this is the window, I believe, for Suomi. They have a slight eco lead, but they do have Knights available, and this is the moment where you have two Castle Age players, you gotta push TaToH, and just make his life miserable, especially if the Fire Gal is being able to open up TaToH's walls no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, and just get your eco rolling. Velez switching into farms would be important, for example. He doesn't have a single farm. I mean, this build order, it's fast to each age, but this isn't exactly ideal, unless he can somehow balance this out. Max got the wood upgrade for free with Burmese. And I think we might see elephants in his future as a unit going towards Imp. But in the middle, Viper sees a Knight. He'll go to convert the Knight, and he will get the conversion. So now he has Camel Archers and Knights. He's been getting all the relics on the map.
And that is huge. Like, I did mention that the Lithuanians cap out at 3 at maximum in this one, but if Viper takes the middle one, then it's only going to be 2. One is very close to the base of Velas, so that should be no problem, and the other one is right next to the TC of Max, but still, it's only 2 relics, which I think is the best that Viper and TaToH can hope on this map.
Kind of concerning TaToH hasn't clicked up the Castle Age yet. Really goes to show you how much losing the fishing ships early hurt him and how all in he was to get that damage done. I mean, thank God he did for Gamer Legion, but Viper, he's going to be on his own here for a bit here, and TaToH will have to try and reboom, but worth reminding people that got one of the most terrifying civs in Imp if they have the eco.
Yeah, overall, the Gothic Infantry Flood and the Camel Archers, as you said, that are extremely hard to kill, that feels like a lethal combination here for GL. On the other hand, we will have a much better boom for Suomi, so they combine for 6 TCs soon, whereas GL will have 3 combined only.
Pretty crazy, right? Viper does have that castle, in a position to maybe make his second castle soon, too. All these things are really nice for Viper's transition. It's just his teammate not in the best spot. My goodness. Max's boom, all propped up by Velez in some ways, as he goes for a fight on the Camel Archers and gets some kills. Max's boom is just insane.
Yeah, the Max's boom is just absolutely crazy. 56 vills already. The problem is Versi going with Burmese, because Burmese, their only late game unit that they can really go for is a run-by, but Camel Archers will be quite decent against those.
Yeah. I think... So Berbers actually struggle against Halbaram, but I think since you don't get Siege Ram with Burmese, it wouldn't be a good play. Lithuanians don't get that either. As TaToH is on the way to Castle Age, finally, I honestly think your ideal unit here is to go for Elite Battle Elephants. Maybe Open Cavalier, switch into Elite Battle Elephants. That could be really strong, because against Berbers, you really don't want to be making Knights long-term with their Camel Archers and their Camels.
Indeed, and especially with Burmese Elephants having that extra Pierce armor, Camel Archers will struggle badly to clean those up.
Uh-oh. TaToH. We've been waiting for this, right? Max just passed Viper in the middle. He said, I don't care about relics. So he's going to go to TaToH's base. TaToH has to defend from these Knights, and he can't click Pikemen yet. He only has Spears. Spearmen don't cut it versus Knights with upgrades. TaToH in big trouble.
Yeah, TaToH's in big trouble, and that mass migration already tells us a lot about the game, and Viper will be forced to chase. That's the bigger problem, that he's constantly forced to defend his teammate, which allows Max and Vilas to have just an untouched boom.
Yeah. Yeah, untouched boom, which is now extended to a lead of 40 villagers. The Knights will go down. Viper, I think, still has the better units out here. Good job from Viper, but TaToH will know that this is pretty bad, and I think the only thing you can do is just boom. Add TCs if you're TaToH and hope that Viper can hold on his own for a while.
Exactly. Like, you can't really do much more than that. But on this map, you might be able to get away with the booming because, like, mid-game aggression is not really that much of a thing.
Yeah, I don't think with where they're expanding their economies to, I don't think that Viper can kill many villagers. All these TCs are in the same spot. There is a TC on the right side for Velez, which is nice, but overall, it's just as there's one relic in that monastery for Velez. That's it. Viper kind of stuck out here on his own. Chain barding on the Knights now, so the Knights could actually take a fight, and Viper has to be a little bit careful about this, as he is showing the power of Camel Archers with the hit and run.
Exactly. This is not a fight that Max wants to take by any means.
Well, it looks like he does, especially if units repath like that. I hate that, man. Like, Viper has his units mid box formation. He clicks them away, and then they all switch spots. Like, no, I want in front. No, I want in front. And then Viper takes hits and loses a Camel Archer.
Viper is going into Imp here.
Okay.
55 vills. This kind of feels like an early Imp to try and snowball the game with Bracer and Chemistry on those Camel Archers. And neither Max nor Velez are close to Imping here.
Huh. I mean, it puts them further behind economically, but it's actually their only shot. Because if he's not able to get a big tech advantage against these players, then I don't see how this is ever possible. But then again, that economy lead is going to be massive. And now Viper's Camel Archers, a few of them go down. And there's the reposition there as he clicks away again. He does not have that many Camel Archers.
Yeah, it is rough. But I feel like one thing that could be the idea for GL here as TaToH is on 4 TCs is maybe Viper just trying to play aggressive and force fights for Max and Velez, and just letting TaToH reboom into Gods, because if they buy time for Gods, they're an extremely scary civ on such an open map.
Yeah, I think I just don't see the timings being right for Viper. Max is going to click up, Velez is going to click up. He will have a couple minutes with Bracer to play around with, but is he going to be able to kill 70 villagers with that? I don't think so. Max has 4 TCs. 5 TCs? 4 TCs, sorry. And beautiful, well-placed fish traps on the water, by the way.
Indeed. Now, I think in this case you could even make a case for Lithuanian lead skirms for now. Obviously, once gods arrive, that is a completely different scenario, but it's only Camel Archers, and Lithuanian lead skirms will have no trouble dealing with them.
TaToH's villager goes down. TaToH trying to build outposts. I actually remember a game, I think it was Battle of Africa, where TaToH, like, he was kind of near dead, and he just made outposts and walls all over the map. You can't make stone walls with Goths, but yeah, doing the small things while he's trying to get back into the game, I guess.
Like, that's one way that you can contribute well in team game. Like, even if you're dead, just do the things, like volleying off you the trade whatsoever. Something that you can still do, and your teammates don't have to worry about that.
Watching these Camel Archers reposition and Viper lose them one after the other, I could just hear Viper saying, "What is this pathing?" Like, oh man, it's such a frustrating thing to experience, especially when it's a unique unit. You need the castles to produce it. Every single unit is so valuable.
Exactly, and honestly, if you're Suomi, as it looks like Velez is also attacking the cavalry, they might just try to overrun GL here with just a massive amounts of cavalier before TaToH could get his eco up and before Viper could get good Camel Archer numbers, because if you just run 20 cavalier to TaToH's base, Viper will have to chase. He has no other option.
Yeah, maybe at this point, honestly, just forget about your ideal army comps at the end and just try and end the game really quickly, like you said. As TaToH's in survival mode, he's getting Bodkinera for his TCs. Max and Velez hit the Imperial Age at almost identical times, and Viper, this is his time. This would be his time to use Bracer with those Camel Archers. TaToH even getting Pikemen, so he, I suppose, is going to work towards a unit that can really help if the enemy's only sending Knights.
Yeah, it makes sense, but he needs a lot of time. He's still just Castle Age and 88 vills.
Yep.
And I feel like Velez's Lithuanian Cavalier is what is going to really start destroying the eco of TaToH. For now, it's just a bit of a raiding from Max.
TaToH at 91 villagers. Only a total of 30 military for Suomi, and Viper's getting some good kills. I mean, Cavalier takes a long time. Viper's trebbing on in the north. I mean, it feels like there's actually an opportunity if Viper can just hold on so TaToH can get in the thick of things with a lot of infantry.
Yeah, exactly. It all lies on Viper's camel archers, and this is the tricky thing because Suomi doesn't have an answer to the camel archers. On the other hand, they are technically supposed to have the chance to just flood out knights much faster and overrun the opponent with that.
This would be a big win for Gamer Legion if they can get this. It still looks like it's going to be tough as the Cavalier come into TaToH's eco, but imagine, you know, the amazing build from Velez, TaToH finding his response, and then Viper having to just hold on for so long while TaToH booms. But I think, you know, likewise for Finland, they need this one here. They clearly had strats set up for this.
In this best of 5, they can't allow to lose a set where they had a consistent 60 Vils lead.
Yeah,
but Viper is stacking into heavy camel, and he's got the eco to get those cheap Berber camels out. So the double Cavalier play, which will soon be Paladins from a red player, could pretty much stall out here.
They can engage against the Camel Archers. Camel Archers are just so strong in these numbers. They don't have range. So now you're going to see Paladin for Velez. That's going to have to really... TaToH has 100 villagers, so I think you have to start taking out TaToH TCs with Paladin or hitting Viper's eco with Paladin because heavy Camel Archer looks winnable with the way Viper's playing this.
Yeah, especially if you think about the fact that Burmese, what will Burmese contribute in this case against Camel Archers? They just have absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing indeed, man. Yeah, actually, Max, he kind of slacked with his numbers there. I think there's a chance that maybe, and I don't know if Capture Aid shows it to us, he sent some food to Velez so Velez could spend it on Paladin. I could be wrong on that, but Max doesn't have a lot of military.
You're right. Max doesn't have a lot of military, and indeed, he seems like he's just slinging Velez into heavy cavalry. But in that case, that's a disaster, because it's already heavy camel, and even though the upgrades aren't great on those, oh, this could be a bad fight for Viper, though. Those heavy camels are very under-upgraded.
Well, I think with the Camel Archers, dude, you have a meat shield. Okay, Paladin's going to be in now. Now Velez will take the fight. But TaToH has 110 villagers. He's not being raided that much. Okay, the heavy camels go down. Now Viper needs to make it out of here. They need to kill here, Finland. They have had such a big lead. They need to kill. Max is making a test switch into Halberdier.
It's also worth pointing out that Viper is going to lose at least one castle on the north here, and one way for Suomi to play this one would be to just destroy Viper's castles.
Yeah.
Because without Camel Archers, Burmese Halberdier works out nicely, but look at Viper picking off the Vils on the barracks.
Smart. TaToH still forever Castle Age is going to make Pikeman. Now let's compare the HP of a Paladin to a Pikeman. 180 HP to 55 HP. Not great, but if you have a lot of them, look at the military count for Gamer Legion. This is winnable, and this just feels like a classic Viper+TaToH type comeback, which I haven't seen and really felt this feeling in quite a long time from these two.
Yeah, exactly. And they are behind by 55 Vils, yet TaToH finds his way. And we talked about this, that if TaToH is left untouched, he will boom back into the game. And that's exactly what we're witnessing.
This is sick. Now, the camels are not that necessary. I think it's just camel archers, which I suppose are camels for Viper from here on out. And then TaToH, he can spam halberdiers all day with this eco. Exactly. And then Max... And we're at a point now where Burmese seem to be a little bit questionable. His barracks were delayed in the center. That might not even be the spot for it now. Yeah, I guess the only area that's tough for Viper... Sorry, Lita, I'm getting so excited. I won't even let you get a word in. But, like, maybe this mountain region for Viper, he's got to pay a bit more attention to, just in case those trebs come forward.
Yeah, you were absolutely right. So... especially if he loses the castles, he suddenly doesn't have Camel Archers. And if there's no Camel Archers, Burmese Champion and Paladin could still do the trick.
This is amazing. Yeah, now, apologies. I don't know if you experienced the same thing, Lita, but there's a few lags here or there with Capture Age, and it might continue because this game is only going to continue to get greater as both teams are 50 population away from being pop-capped, and Max pops out with his pikes.
Indeed, but look at that 64 pikemen from TaToH, and he is no longer Forever Castle, although that's Lithuanian Paladins. That's a lot of Lithuanian Paladins, and those are Burmese pikemen, and that's a great fight for Suomi.
Yeah, good clear up. When you toss away halves, you can't get too upset about it. By the way, we have trade now for Finland, and they started that a whole lot earlier. So economically, it should be better for them long term. TaToH getting Perfusion and Halberdier first thing in Imp. So these Halberdiers, or soon going to be Halberdiers, will spam very quickly.
Indeed, not a great fight there for Viles running into the pikeman, although he takes the fight before Hobbs. He's also trickling in some light cav into TaToH's eco, but I feel like TaToH is too far boom now. And Viper is back to Camel Archers. He knows exactly he needs those.
Yeah. Yeah, Viper might want a few more of those. I'm surprised to see he's actually going for more heavy camels and getting the upgrades. Maybe he just wants to upgrade them because it gets more value of the unit he paid for. But 60 Camel Archers, that's the number you want to shoot towards. Big thing here for Gamer Legion is making sure they get the trade going, and you just now see Caravan, whereas Suomi, they have plenty of trade cards working and bringing in gold.
All right. The tricky thing here for Suomi, I believe, is that they don't have a good Siege Ram Civ, because Hab and Siege Ram could push off Viper very, very easily on the left side and destroy the castles, which would be an important part. It also looks like we have some ships being deleted here by Suomi, probably just combat ships, because they need population space.
Okay, yep.
Vorgali.
I mean, what would you prefer? Goths fully boomed spamming Halbs, or Burmese fully boomed spamming Halbs, if you had to choose?
Probably Goths, just because I can always have the option to add Huskars as well for some raiding potential, whereas Burmese don't really have that option. Yep. And speaking of that, we already have some units trickling in here from TaToH, who's also taking into War Galley, and he might be pushing water soon.
That's actually a sick play. Yeah, this is not where Suomi's worried about right now, but they should be. Halberdiers could start poking down that trade.
But Viper is about to lose those castles. There's 4 traps with hill advantage, and Viper is only on 2 castles, which means no more Camel Archers.
The quick walls, though! And oh my god, the Paladins are trapped by camels! Well, that's why you go for heavy camel. What a play there from Viper. And I think all these Lithuanian Paladins that we've been hyping up so much might just go down.
Are they?
Death trap.
Are they? Because that's a lot of Camel Archers going down, and 1 castle is lost here from Viper. You don't want to fight those Halberdiers, though, if you are a red player.
Yeah, I mean, that is a clear up and a half, but the position sucks now for Viper, right? Having lost those castles. I'm going to tap out of Capture Agent into the game as the performance issues are getting worse and worse and worse as this game continues to heat up.
And one thing to consider is that GL still doesn't have any trades, so GL's gold income will soon be very problematic. And I feel like Suomi is slowly gaining momentum, because TaToH is trickling in some units to raid, but really, they aren't able to influence the eco of Suomi that much.
Yeah. I mean, the trade, though, this right side, that is definitely a factor. I mean, there's units there that could be killing trade. I think that, ideally, Finland would probably get maxed into a tech switch at some point. Look at Viper's queue. Viper has so many trade cards queued. There's definitely an opportunity here for Viper and TaToH to kill trade and also add their trade. These Paladins just can't seem to get good engagements against Viper's Camel Army.
You're out of capture, so you don't know the exact number, but how many Paladins do you think Viles has right now?
50.
70.
It says he has 60 military. Wait a second.
Yeah, he's just running into
Halberdiers.
He's just running into Halberdiers, so he's now down to 58, but at some point, he was up to 70 Paladins, and he could sandwich those Camel Archers now in between his Paladins here as well.
So many pointy boys here, man. Yeah, the great thing about Paladin is that you can split it up, and if it's on its own, it does tons of damage, whereas the Camel Archers have to group. And Viper's group now is getting a lot smaller. Oh boy, I think Viper was hoping to get more from that engagement there, Lita. And there's more Paladins coming in. There's more helps coming in. The trade is, well, for now it seems okay as it's been castled by Velez. And yeah, maybe GL are starting to lose ground now.
They are. And if there is no Camel Archers, suddenly Burmese becomes a very, very good sip here with their own Halberdiers, with their own champions.
Yep.
The problem is that Viper has no Camel Archers here, and you see that castle is full of Camel Archers queued up, but he doesn't have the production anymore.
Max is slinging all of his golds to Velez. He just sent 500 gold. So he's only spending food and wood. But every time he brings in gold, he sends it over to Velez so Velez can make paladins. That is really good team play from Finland.
TaToH is making galleons to try and deny the trade on the right side from Max and Velez. And I also see a transport ship queued up for TaToH.
Oh,
yeah, he's got transport queued up. And if he gets a couple of Gothic barracks over there into the trade, things could get interesting. But GL is slowly losing eco once again, and the unit composition starts to get very problematic for them.
Yeah, Viper's pop is just horrible right now. He's got 106 eco, 28 military. Feels like if the Trebs take out these buildings, that the Paladins are going to be through, and then if the trade is gone, the game is gone for GL. Yeah, I like the tower defense idea, as Velez is even using some Paladins for the Galleons there. The towers will protect from the Navy Tat is adding, which is not a bad idea, it just might be too little too late.
Indeed. And TaToH actually made a transport, and he's actually getting villas and hubs in there. He's getting careening so he can fit 10 units inside. That feels like a last desperate effort.
Yeah, he's like, but Viper, I'm transporting.
It's like...
TaToH, I'm dead, you know?
Yeah. Viper is trying to get Maghrebi camos to heal those camos up, but it's only one cast, and that's the biggest problem of unique unit builds.
Yep. Yep, only one castle. This is the one that started it all off, too. But certainly is not going to cut it as far as production goes now. And Velez's pop isn't perfect. His farm count certainly isn't as high as you would want for Paladins, but his gold count is amazing.
And Max is now adding champions as well. It looks like now it's a big counterattack from Viper with Camel Archers. Suomi was expecting this because they're adding fortified walls. And here comes the transport from TaToH.
Okay, so transport gets here at the same time. The last effort for Gamer Legion to try and win this.
But
and
it's gods.
They need to kill a lot of trade.
So if you get like 5 barracks here with gods, that could be very annoying to deal with perfusion. That's the last chance for Gamer Legion with Viper getting annihilated on the left side. I think that might be just a little too late here.
It's a lot of trade, but last I checked, Velez had 3,000 gold in the bank. Yeah, he has 2,000 gold in the bank, and he's adding more trade, expecting to lose some. But this is great job from Viper now. He split up the 3 groups, which might be hard to track, and he could last for 10 minutes here.
Yeah, and that's going to kill a lot of trade from Suomi, but that doesn't change the fact that GL doesn't have any trade either, so...
Yeah.
From that perspective, it's still a disaster, and Viper is down to 78 vills, TaToH is at 80. So I feel like, while the chance would be there for GL, I think this comes just a little too late.
Yeah, I mean, they've taken up the Trebs here, so TaToH's saying I'm 200 pop, like, let's not call it, let's not call it. I've got the forward barracks, let's not call it. I mean, Velez's pop is down to 120. They should not call this. I don't know what it says in capture rate because I am just going to use the actual game now. But TaToH has 121 military. Max has 40. Velez has 40. TaToH has more military than the other team combined.
TaToH has 110 halberdiers.
And there's still galleons here. This is winnable. This is actually winnable for Gamer Legion.
Oh, what a game. Max can still mix in just champions to deal with those halberdiers, but this is going to be so annoying to clean up. The populations are almost dead even, so the problem for TaToH, I believe, is that the hubs are better for Burmese and champions for Burmese just eat the Gothic hubs.
Viper's got trade queued. He's mixing in some Camel Archers. The Camel Archers are great against the Halbs and Champs here. Overall pop's still pretty close. There is a point where Velez is going to start to run low on gold. He only has 17 on gold now. In total, what are the trade units? Let's see. Velez has 15 trade units. Max has
43.
43. That's not bad.
And Max also has the hill on the left side, which has an awful lot of mineable gold still. So that's probably like 5, 6, 7, 8,000, if not more.
But TaToH, I guess his food and wood eco is not actually all that great. he actually could run out of wood, which would be crazy. Is this going to be a wood game? And oh, the GG's called anyways. They tap out here. What a game that was, though.
What a game, indeed. I feel like maybe GL looked at the score, or maybe just Viper looked at his Camel Archer numbers. He's down to 11, and from this point on, it's just an infantry flood from gods. And if Burmese just flood halberdiers and champions, like Berbers and Gods have nothing against that, and
Yeah.
especially with Suomi having the hills. What a game, man!
Yeah, that's one of the best ones I've seen. Um, it just came back to that boom paying off. But man, did Gamer Legion give themselves a chance with Viper's fast, low eco imp with camel archers, and then TaToH, of course, being Goths. Ultimately, I think back to the 7-minute feudal. What on earth was that build order? That is something that Velez had to have practiced many times to get it right. You don't just do that on a nomad start unless you practiced it. Um, and Tato had killed so many villagers with his counter on land, and it still didn't end up being enough. Score 2-1 for Suomi.
Indeed, and it's match point for Gamer Legion, and many people were aspiring. I was reading Twitch chat all across, like Twitch in AOE scene in the recent weeks, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's gonna be crazy to have like a WWP versus GL or Tempo versus GL set," and we're getting close to maybe GL not even making semifinals. They still have 2 games, but it's a match point, so it's a must-win here for them.
Yeah, man. I mean, this would have been. There's so many new people that are watching around the community right now, and this was. You got to understand, this is kind of new to us, the people who've been around for years. There was always the same team winning all tournaments. There's always the same player winning all tournaments for so many years of Age of Empires 2 competitively. So 2021 has already shaken things up. The scene's a lot closer, which we've seen from the other teams. But to say those words right there is just a shock to me still, having done this for so long. But logically, these games have been pretty true to players winning on their home maps, having something prepared, and having an advantage going into it. So I imagine that Gamer Legion are going to come back with a punch.
Well, they have to, but they go to Cape of Storms, which historically is one of their best maps overall. Another map where they can just go for a crazy fish boom, and that would mean that if they win this, we go to a Team Islands Decider.
Team Islands Decider, I'm down. I'm down. A 3-hour-long Team Islands game with 100 trade cards to each team, and wood is 5,000 gold for 100. Yeah, let's do that. But no, let's first see if Gamer Legion can tie it up on Cape of Storms. I got to get in there actually, and we can do our quick countdown.
I'm at 10 seconds, so we can do a countdown whenever you're ready.
Yeah, cool. 3, 2, and then 1. Let us go. I'm actually, Lita, can we pause at 20? Pause at 20.
Sure.
I ruined that.
All
Pause
right.
at 20.
Try number 2. I'm paused at 20 this time.
Okay, yeah, we got this. That's right. We're procasters, right? It's really awkward because we have the game, and then we have Capture Age, which has to load and get all that stuff, right? So bear with me. I think what it is Capture Age can't handle the hype. And so it takes a moment. That's all.
It does. But to the viewers, this is not as easy as it looks like. Syncing up 2 casters in Capture Age is a bit of a challenge overall.
Anyways, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Let's get started. So, Lidacor, take it away.
All right, so we will have potentially a decider game between Suomi and Gamer Legion. It's a must-win for Viper and TaToH. Going off TaToH with a Malian's flank in blue, and Viper will be playing Burgundian's pocket in green versus Vilas coming in with Incas in red and yellow for Japanese in max. And if I'm not mistaken, I expect a forward wheel from Vilas here for laming, something that he has done quite a lot.
Yeah, he does that a lot. But also, I mean, Incas are insanely strong with feudal age villagers. Feudal age, your villagers are affected by blacksmith upgrades, and it's insanely hard to execute because you have to constantly micro them, and then you're actually using villagers, something that's supposed to bring an eco to attack, but it's also really tough to stop. So is this possibly what they're thinking here, Suomi? Go fast feudal and make it messy.
It's interesting because, like, it would be so awkward to see Vilas going in for an Inca Via Rush. I mean, he's one of the nicest guys out there. He's, like, super silent, super nice, and then he goes for this super aggressive play. But
are you implying that people who go for Incas and Vil Rushes are not nice people?
I cannot say that because I did that myself a lot, so...
Well, you're a jerk. So that makes sense. I'm kidding. All right, just wanted to make sure because I have practiced that strategy a few too many times in my life. But yeah, you're right. Velez, more than anything, he's a real meta player, though. When you think Velez, you think someone who's always playing like archer flank and playing clean, and not someone who's going to go for something wacky.
Indeed. Although, Zupi told us a story yesterday about that they played some practice games when Zupi and Rubenstock were preparing for qualifiers, and Viles got Burgundians from them, and he douched Zupi with Burgundians.
Whoa, really? That's funny. At that point, it's like Max and Velez are kind of like the big dogs of the Finnish squad, so I feel like they look down on the others and like, oh, that's cute. I'm gonna TC drop you and win anyways.
Although,
This eagle's been everywhere, and I haven't really seen much else, but I see that players are gonna try and dock right now for Gamer Legion.
and so is it for Suomi. So everybody will go for some water control. But in that case, I actually like Malians a little bit better than Incas, because Malians will have an edge in the water fight if we are going to see any of that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, because we have Incas, we always have to think about that potential forward. We have to, it's in the back of TaToH's mind. TaToH might expect it, go for some defense for it, and then have it not come because Incas are such a well-rounded civilization otherwise. So that's why I'm such a big fan of Incas, because it's not necessarily as good with Eagles as Mayans and as good as Archers as Mayans or as good as Monks as Aztecs. But they have options too. It doesn't have to just be one thing.
Indeed, Incas is one of the most versatile civs that is often overlooked because everybody's just using them to veil rush, but
Yeah.
like, they have everything. In fact, they might have the widest tech tree of all meso civs if you think about the fact that they have slingers, which is a massive advantage when it comes to dealing with heavy infantry.
At a high level, the amount of variety they have doesn't really matter most times. Like, if you had to not veil rush with the Meso Civ, you're always going to pick Mayans for archers, and I think I pick Aztecs for other situations, which is kind of a shame because the Civ does have so much variety, and why you might only see it surrounding some type of veil shenanigans.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what the play will be here. Do you think we're going to see scouts maybe then from Max and from Viper in those back safe positions?
I am almost certain. Interesting fact that Max's Japanese pocket, we haven't talked about that a lot, so he's gonna have to play with cavalry.
Yeah.
And Japanese cavalry is all good in Castle Age. Knights are fully upgraded. They're missing +4 defense in Imp for their cavaliers, so that's going to be a problem in Imp for them. But this is actually a strategy that Gamer Legion used in TwoPools 1. Viper picking Japanese in pocket and just having a crazy indestructible fish boom and just booming up to a flood of knights, basically.
Yep. Viper here with his scout. Probably hearing from TaToH that enemy scouts are here. And this is going to get awkward for Viper Scout and maybe even for TaToH's villager. But I think TaToH could be walling because he's expecting something crazy and he wants to be safe from it.
TaToH managed to lame 2 sheep away from the opponent, but that's not that big of a deal on this map with 3 huntables. And Viles is gonna go 4 on gold, and what appears to be a Man-at-Arms opening, spiced up with getting housed.
Spiced up with getting housed. Interesting. Well, if you make a house with Incas, you do get extra pop space, which is nice. And I think you're right. Here come the villagers. Now, this might not incorporate a blacksmith, you know? This might just be a standard tower rush. But it's about to go down in the middle, especially with these scouts here. Slightly weak scouts for multiple players. But Feudalage is going to hit at different times. It will be fastest for Max. So advantage Finland with this small fight that's incoming.
And we are going to have Men-at-Arms for Viles. I like the Men-at-Arms towers a little bit better than just standard Veil Rush. Because that way you have a bit more beef. And TaToH's Goldman is dangerously exposed and he has 2 weak villagers on it as well. So he's got to be super careful not losing those.
He has to go for immediate defensive tower here. Immediate defensive tower, and yeah, as you said, make sure those weak villagers are out of here. But TaToH's golds, I mean, both of them are beyond his walls. Or I guess that one's part of his wall. Not a great spot to be in for him, that's for sure. And he's also going to lose his scout to Max's scout eventually. As he's adding stone walls now. TaToH...
That could be one dead villager there. trying to juke away from the arrows, and he will lose one. But indeed, TaToH's gold mine is awful here, and maybe this was just a reaction from Viles to the map of TaToH here.
Maybe. Well, think about what TaToH wanted to do. He doesn't have a barracks. He doesn't have an archer range. He wanted to go water. But now he doesn't have gold to make fire galleys. So this really hurts his plan. And I think his best solution is to try and, seems crazy, get this down ASAP. So he's going to rush down that tower. He has 2 villagers there, but only one's able to hit. And Velez takes out the palisade. But Velez is Incas, and Velez is going to go through.
And Velez got the armor upgrade. Nice move, by the way, from TaToH to wall this one off, because the men-at-arms were very close. This was a very nice defense from TaToH there. And there is no mineable stone close to the bases of the players, so that pretty much ends the tower rush of Velez because he's not mining any more stone.
Oh, back of Viper's base, he has a weak villager as part of 3 on Ostrich. 1 will die. Max could block and get 2. Let's see if Max can execute here. He will get 2 villagers. Wow, this is great for Suomi.
It is. We'll have TaToH dropping a dock on the southern part of the map, so he will try to push Suomi's fishing eco. And, like, TaToH's already going for stone walls. He knows exactly that he needs to hold out here, and Max is trickling in scouts to the back of Viper's base from the north.
Yeah, that's not really common, but I guess it's the only way Max could go there. And it's kind of awkward for Viper not to know if he was needed to help TaToH or what. And Velez really just drops a mill and says, okay, I eat food now. What? Those villagers have done it all today.
Indeed, and I feel like here's the problem for Viper once again with Burgundians being the pocket safe here. It's a save that doesn't have bloodlines, so if Max grabs bloodlines here, suddenly he's gonna have a big advantage. He already has +1/+1 as opposed to 0 upgrades from Viper.
Yeah, what's been the difference here? I mean, has Max's eco been that much better that he's been able to afford this much more? Is it the fact that Viper went for Bowsaw already that has set him back economically, or not economically, that puts him ahead economically, but means he didn't have the resources for upgrades, maybe?
Indeed, he has a better fishing eco. He's got 9 fishing ships compared to 7 from Max. Obviously, Max is gonna have Japanese fishing ships working faster, and a bit of a mistake from TaToH not pushing the fishing eco of Max. He just has a fire galley chilling there.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I'll cut him some slack because he's distracted right now. Velez has switched onto water to defend from that play, which was so good. And he might even take out that dock there with his man-at-arms.
He definitely took out the villager that built that dock with the men-at-arms, and that helped quite a bit overall. But Viper is gonna have a tough time holding against the scouts because Bloodline's timing will be perfect here for Max.
And Bloodlines, is that in now? It is. So Bloodlines, so he has full upgrades on scouts, and Viper doesn't have a single upgrade on his scouts. But Viper does have the numbers and does have the villagers, so it should be okay. I think Max is rushing that a little bit.
Yeah, I think he could have waited for one more. Maybe he wants to try to do some damage until his walls or the Ardente walls of Viper are open.
Yeah, that looks a little bit better there for Max, as he will still have scouts remaining here. And Viper fighting off with villagers. No military here. And
not at all.
He's not Incas, so villagers do not count as military.
And Max is just spamming scouts from double stables with full upgrades, and Viper has only 1 stable and no upgrades, just going for stable number 2, but that's already great for Suomi in what is a match point.
I mean, I'm a little confused. I don't know where the numbers are from the Viper compared to the Max, but I could tell you that Max is not going to let up here. He actually has 2 stables at home to produce scouts now, and Viper's never going to get walls down at this rate.
Not at all. He's going to have to get some spearmen out there because otherwise he's going to have a tough time. Even with spears, it's going to be tough because those are fully upgraded scouts. And look at the castlage times for both Suomi players will be way ahead of Gamer Legion.
Wow. Yeah, you've got galleys from TaToH, though. So while Velez was doing his part, TaToH has done his to get onto water. If he could get back to Max's fish, his Viper fails to click wall here. Getting massacred time after time after time after time. But maybe if Max's fishing ships go down, Viper will have his. And we've seen games swing. You can see that despite the losses for Viper, Gamer Legion do have the eco lead.
Indeed, and TaToH is going up to cast stage. There has to be some massive TaToH carrying done here by killing the fishing eco.
Yeah.
And then doing something in castle, because like TaToH has done his part. He has walled off the entire left side of their base, but as long as Viper is open, the scouts will just keep flooding in, and soon those will be knights instead of scouts.
Saw so many villagers here. It's insane. He has the eco lead because he's adding fishing ships too, but I think the number is one thing, but the efficiency is another. And momentum is fully with Finland right now. Max will be probably going for the light cav upgrade as he's still making scouts, and Viper just reacting, as he has to. If he doesn't deal with this, it is GG, and Gamer Legion will not make it to the semis, which is that's a big deal for our community, man. I would not have been able to predict that.
Yeah, and they were finalists 2 years ago, and I think it's almost a bit of an upset as well, because when we talked about the potential outcome of this set before, we talked about it's either long set and then it could go either way, or it could be GL just 3-0ing that, but it currently seems like Suomi has the upper hand in all games.
They've just been more consistent, man. And I'm impressed. Velez has become more of a complete player. Max is showing that he's back as he gets another villager from Viper with that scout. Lightcap is going to be in for Viper, who's 2.5 minutes away from Castle Age. Meanwhile, Velez is going to... I think he added a town center somewhere. He's going to have the siege coming in on TaToH. He has crossbow already. But TaToH did take out a lot on water. There are positives.
Yeah, like, GL has to ride that advantage of water control, but how do you stop that many light caps? Those light caps will have good upgrades, and Viper will still not have bloodlines. Like, the earliest time that Viper will be able to have an advantage is when he grabs Cavalier, but it's still at least 3 minutes away.
Look at what the Max is doing behind this. TC on the gold. TC on the gold in the wood line. So... as Viper could actually be attacking with that scout, but that's pretty much his only opportunity for a counter. This feels like Viper's just going to continue to lose more and react, and Finland are going to extend their lead on land here. Max in particular, man, I mean, I love the way he split up the light cav while having a big group of light cav to worry Viper and TaToH.
And this forces TaToH to go for knights to try and defend against the light cav, although he could have technically opened camels instead. But I think it tells a lot that TaToH is forced to go for Lightcap, who probably was supposed to be playing with archers instead. And TaToH loses his gold mine, though, to the Mangonel.
This could be the final blow. They know it's bad already, I'm sure, and they should continue to play here, Gamer Legion, because of the fish. Actually, the fish are going down to Velez. They're doing everything here, Suomi. They are everywhere they need to be. They're booming, they're raiding on land and on water, they're pressuring the proper spots. This is incredible stuff. And yeah, Viper, as he goes pikeman, man, I mean, this doesn't feel like he's going to have any opportunity to ever threaten the Max. Velez, the same deal with his fight against TaToH.
It is looking really rough now for GL because Suomi takes over in eco, and TaToH currently has no safe gold income either.
Yeah, and the walls there. Viper had to rebuild the house so he can take gold more efficiently there. Okay, that's a start. That's a start. Viper gets some hits as we see barracks from Max. Is Max going to go longswords here? Or is that his own pikeman? What? That's creative.
Well, it's Japanese pikemen, so they're no joke.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, TaToH was forced to go for knights and camels, and TaToH is off from gold as well. And the thing is that most of the gold is on the north. So
yeah, yep.
TaToH's only chance to get there is if he's able to establish a foothold there, but that is why Max is coming in with pikemen, and Japanese pikemen will eat cavalry from both players.
Yeah, seriously. Not seeing a whole lot of blue where it would want to be. Green is kind of stuck in one spot. Gamer Legion completely surrounded right now.
And this is looking really grim for GL. They're big comeback masters, but I feel like the map control is what is looking really disturbing to them. Viper lost 14 villas and didn't kill a single one in this game, so he wasn't able to get any scouts to Max's base. He was constantly forced to defend.
The speed at which Finland was able to pressure in early feudal is just insane. The fact that Viper didn't get a single counter in this entire time. Now, he could, as I say that, finally find a counter, and this would be an amazing counter, too, because Velez did not wall to the shoreline, or if he did, TaToH told Viper, hey, it's open here. Now, you said what? Viper lost 14 vills? Well, Velez has 10 on that gold. And that's
a
about the
start.
difference between the teams. Yeah, this could be the moment that Viper and TaToH have been waiting for.
But TaToH now has Redemption Monks coming in here, gets 2 conversions on Knights, and he's just going to start converting buildings now. So yeah, TaToH is going to kill a lot, but is that going to be enough?
Man, I mean, that's... The eco difference is pretty close now. You do have to worry about the Max coming in the north, but Viper and TaToH, the kings of comebacks, maybe there's a chance. TaToH, he's hoping that Monk RNG will be on his side here. He saves the Mangonel from the Monks, and the Monk goes down to the TC.
Yeah, that was a very, very nice start, and GL is a master of comebacks, and I think one of the things that you won't have if you're Max with Pikeman is just mobility or raiding potential, but his leftover Knights are still doing damage, so Viper now down by 19 vills, but I think these light caps is indeed, as you said, the first ingredient for GL to raid their way back into the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like Max was having success earlier. There's so many exposed spots, but TaToH just tried to place a TC, and now for the first time he sees that Max is Pikeman here. And he probably told Viper, and Viper's like, what? Pikeman?
Yeah,
That's not good.
That is not good indeed, because TaToH is currently off from gold. He's got absolutely 0 gold income, and that means that he can't replenish Mangonels. So he needs to use a market to buy himself gold. And the Redemption Monk could get a conversion on that Mangonel as well. Cavalier in for Viper, which honestly may be their only hope, especially if they can slow down Velez's push here on the left.
Yep. Max adding a 4th TC. I think this is at a stage where you just add the TC in case more light cav arrive, honestly. It's just an anti-raid TC. And TaToH loses his main TC. And this push is... How do you stop this? There's nothing that they have can stop Velez's push right now. Nothing.
Yeah, TaToH's trying to tech into light cav, but you see the indicators for conversions. Velez will start converting buildings, and that could be a moment for Xolotl warriors with Incas.
He converts a stable? Oh! Oh, please! Oh, please make it happen. Light cav is coming in that stable right there. Meanwhile, Max still pushing this position. What a way to send Gamer Legion out of the tournament. Make a Xolotl warrior.
Indeed.
Come on, Velez. Come on.
For the fans.
Do it for the fans. Come on.
That would be just
not doing it.
Full domination asserted here for him. He has the resources. I will be disappointed if he doesn't do it, because he's got the...
Oh, he's making one! He's making one! You can only make this if you convert an enemy stable, because of course Incas, Aztecs, and Mayans, they cannot make stables. A Xolotl warrior, Lita. How happy are you pleased to see this?
And it spawns just before the GG. And with that, Suomi sends Gamer Legion out of the tournament in a very dominant fashion. I think it's an upset to see this dominant win for Suomi.
Yeah. No, I mean, Suomi, it's... Make no mistake about it. Suomi just completely outplayed them today. If you think about the win that Gamer Legion had, Max had a hole in his wall, right? So granted, there was the open side, which maybe TaToH would have found, but that was a game where Finland had the lead, and then TaToH, with extraordinary play and sneaking through, was able to get the win for Gamer Legion. But think of the wins and how dominant it was today. It started early for Finland, and that's not something you think of. Sometimes you think about it going late, but the first game, double teaming against Viper's villagers early and setting Viper behind. This game as well, like just scouting the map, seeing TaToH's golds, and then the nonstop pressure from the Max. I think this has kind of been a long time coming for this Finland squad, because there have been so many times that they had run into Viper and TaToH and Doubt in the past and not being able to get through them. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, indeed. And really, I think if you think about the Forest Pond game, that could have been a win as well for Finland, because they were winning one side. It was the sneak coming in that came in clutch. These were mostly close games, especially the Coast to Mountain game was fairly close. But it looks like Max and Velez came in prepared here, and at the end of the day, they were second place in their group behind Tempo, but obviously that's very, very top competition.
Yeah.
And they will have a shot at the semifinals next weekend